Good morning, girls. Welcome to your first online lesson in the Corona Maths era. We're going to do mainly some revision of further geometry that you have done. We're going to basically apply the content that you've learned in core with identities, etc., into AP, so therefore using the other three trig ratios as well. So what you see in front of you are the summaries of the three square identities that you need to know. The top one is given to you on the information sheet. So the 1 plus tan squared theta equals sec squared theta, 1 plus cot squared theta equals cosec squared theta. That's all given to you. You only need to remember how to manipulate them if that is the requirement. Okay, the next thing to remind you of, in the cast diagram, you already know from cast the cos, all, sine, and tan are positive in their respective quadrants, but it also goes for their reciprocal functions. Okay, so the reciprocal of sine is cosec, so that's also positive in quadrant 2. The reciprocal of tan is cotangent or cot, that's positive in quadrant 3, and cos's reciprocal sec is positive in quadrant 4. Okay, and there is a summary for you of the reciprocal functions. Do not mix those up with the co-functions. Okay, the co-functions are different. The reciprocal functions, so 1 over sine theta is cosec theta, which means that 1 over cosec theta is sine theta, and so on. 1 over cos theta is sec theta, so 1 over sec theta would be cos theta, and 1 over tan theta is cot theta, so therefore 1 over cot theta would be equal to tan theta. All right, example 1. Simplify cot 90 plus x into cosec 180 minus x over sec 180 plus x. Now, in order to do this co-function reduction, I need you to look at page 212 in your textbook, in your purple textbook. And there you will see a list of all the co-functions. In core, you've only done sine and cos. So sine 90 minus and plus theta, etc. equals cos theta. And there was the exception, which was cos 90 plus theta is negative sine theta. But all of the ratios for all of the different ones are on page 212. Right, so cot of 90 plus x is equal to negative tan x. And cosec 180 minus x. Now, 180 minus x is in quadrant 2, where sine and cosec are both positive. So cosec 180 minus x then becomes positive cosec x. And sec 180 plus x is in the third quadrant, where cos is negative, and therefore sec is also negative. So that'll be negative sec x in the denominator. And now you've got to use your reciprocal functions to kind of cancel this. So we can bring the negative sec to the top. The negatives actually cancel out. So we're now left with tan x, cosec x, and sec x's reciprocal function, which is cos x at the top. The idea now is to reduce every ratio to one of either sine or cos. So tan x becomes sine x over cos x. Cosec x becomes 1 over sine x. And cos x remains cos x. And then we can cancel. So cos x cancels with cos x, sine x cancels with sine x. And that means our final answer is 1. Okay, example 2, it's an identity. Prove that tan x over sec x minus 1 minus tan x over sec x plus 1 is equal to 2 cot x. Right, we're going to choose the left-hand side because it's more complicated and there's more that we can do with it. So tan x over sec x minus 1 minus tan x over sec x plus 1. Right, first rule of an identity was to, if there's a fraction, we need to combine those into one fraction. So get an LCD. Remember, don't multiply out the LCD because normally you end up being able to cancel one of the brackets. Hopefully that's the case here. So our numerator becomes tan x into sec x plus 1 minus tan x into sec x minus 1. Right, and now in the numerator, we're going to multiply out because there's nothing common there for us to factorize. That would have been first prize. So tan x sec x for the first term and then plus tan x, then minus tan x sec x, plus tan x. I've just seen my error in the denominator. Sorry, girls. I'll fix that up now. All right, so in the denominator actually here was sec x plus 1. Right, so what happens here now is that I can see that the tan x, sec x's will cancel, and I'll be left with 2 tan x at the top. And now I see that there's nothing to cancel with the bottom, so now at this point I'll multiply them out. So it's a difference of 2 squares. So sec squared x minus 1, which is an identity. Right, so 2 tan x at the top, and sec squared x minus 1 is tan squared x if you look at your identity chart. So one of the tans at the bottom cancel with the tan at the top, so you end up with 2 over tan x, and then we can bring the tan x up and express it as its reciprocal, which is cot x, and that equals the right-hand side. Done. Right, what you need to do now is move on to the exercise 1 and exercise 2, which is found in the same folder as this video on Teams, and you have until the end of tomorrow to complete that. Okay, so I would expect on Friday morning we can move on with the next lesson.